Hi everyone. Recently on one of my workshops we captured some star trail images, so I just wanted to put together a couple of tutorials on how to process or how to capture and process the star trail images. So there will be two tutorials. The first one, which is this one, we will use a program called Star Stax to actually create the star trails from our images, and the other tutorial I'll do will be using Lightroom and Photoshop. I'll put a link down to that one in the comments below on this one, so once that's happened. But for now we'll go ahead and have a look at the one with Star Stax. But first, I just wanted to go over a bit on how we capture those images. So with star trails, we need to be pointing towards, or in the southern hemisphere, we need to be pointing towards the south celestial pole. So pretty much facing south. That way it gives us the circular motion of the rotation of the Earth. So, and it's always good to have like an interesting foreground composition as well, not just the sky. It just makes it look a lot more interesting. So you'll see in the photos that we look at shortly that we had it like a bit of a foreground, and the sky was actually really clear, which is why we decided to go ahead and do these star trails. So, and the other thing too was there was a fairly bright moon, which sort of wasn't ideal for Milky Way shots, but it was good for star trails because it illuminated the landscape. So I think that's always good. Instead of having like a silhouetted foreground, it's always good if you can have a bit of detail in your foreground. So I'll just quickly show you some of the photos that we captured. So what I've done is I shot these in RAW, and I've actually converted them to JPEG because Star Stax needs to work in JPEG. It can't work in RAW files. I'm just going to quickly open. So these are just haven't done too much to these images, but you can see we've got all the star detail. These are 30-second exposures, so you've got a bit of trailing, but that's okay because that's sort of what you want. So I think there's 118 exposures, so you get that slight bit of star trailing, and the south celestial pole is about in the middle of the frame there somewhere. So as we build this stack, you'll get that circular motion around. And you can see we've got a bit of foreground detail as well. The image might seem a little dark at the moment, but as we stack them together, it'll lighten up a bit and it'll look a lot better. Another advantage with stacking like that is it sort of reduces noise as well. So there might be a little bit of noise in these images, but as we stack them, it reduces the signal to noise ratio, so the finished file should look a lot better. So with these photos, I've actually imported them into Lightroom. I've done very little editing to the individual files. All I've done is actually just added a bit of, increase the white levels a bit. The white levels just make the stars pop a bit more. So that's pretty much all I've done to these photos. So we'll go ahead and look at Star Stax, and then we'll go ahead and we'll stack them together. So to get the Star Stax program, if you just type in Star Stax into Google, you should press enter, you should get some results like this. The one that you really need is this Star Stax by Marcus Ensweiler. He's the developer of the program, so if you go to his page and then if you scroll down, there's download options, so both for Mac and Windows. So the one I use is I use Windows 64-bit, so I actually clicked on that and I downloaded that, and in my downloads folder I get a zip file like that. So then what you do is you right click and go extract all. I assume there's a similar process on a Mac, so I'm not familiar with Mac. I'm assuming there's a similar sort of menu to extract the file, and then you get this extracted file below that. And what I did is I dragged that to my desktop. So there it is there. So that's the extracted folder. If I open that, then there's another folder called Star Stax. That 0.71 must be the version number. If I double click on that, this application here is not the actual application. You've got to double click into this Star Stax other folder, and then down in the corner here you've got the Star Stax application. And then if I click on that, that actually runs the application. So, and this is what we use to stack all our files. So if we go back to our individual files, how I actually got them is because I shot all my captures in RAW. So, and I've loaded all them into Lightroom. So you can see there the CR2 RAW files. So what I've done is I've just done a very simple edit on one of those, which was just the whites, as I mentioned. I can show you that. So if I go to develop, all I've done is just increase the whites a little bit, just to make everything pop a little bit more. And then I just, with that image, I just scroll down to the last image, hold shift down to select them all, and then just go sync settings. And that syncs all the changes that I made on that first file to all the other files. The lighting in this scene was pretty consistent, so there wasn't much change at all, which was good. So, and then what I did is I exported all those as a JPEG. I'll just show you a quick sample on this. So if we go export, what I did was I just export them at a full size and max 8K. So I'll just ping up the export screen. So if I just select that one, so then if we go down to the file settings, it's a JPEG, it's 100%, and that limit file size to 8 meg. So that just makes the files a little bit smaller, and we don't want to resize them to anything. So basically that's the only setting we really need to have, and I'm not going to actually export that because I've already done that. So I got all those files in here, and I'll put them into this folder here. So you can see there JPEG dimension 6,240 pixels across the long edge, and they're about 4.5 meg each, so they're a reasonable file size to use, but they're still pretty high quality. So they're the actual JPEGs that we're going to use to stack. So now if we go back to Star Stax, just over on the right hand side there's a few like tool things. If we open that one, so the blending mode here, we want it to lighten. There is a gap filling and comet mode and things like that, but I'll cover that in later tutorials because I haven't had a play with them yet. But lighten will generally give us the star trails that we need. So there's nothing else you really want to do there. We're not working with dark images or black images, so we don't need that selected. We don't want to do anything with the background, and we don't really want to do anything in there, so it's mainly just the light and blend mode that we want to think. So you can drag and drop your images there, or you can just select open and there's our folder. So if I just select one and then go Control A or Command on a Mac, that's selected all our files. If I just go open, that'll put them all down in the left hand side. So as you can see, you can turn certain images on and off if you've got like a torchlight or a plane coming through or something like that, and you can turn images on and off. But that sort of does give you a few more gaps in your star trails as well. So you can sort of edit those things out once they're stacked as well using Photoshop or the like, so you can get pretty good results like that. So now that we've got them all selected, you just go up here to this button here and it says Start Processing, and I'll just click that now, and you can see there it starts to build the star trails in real time, which is pretty cool. So and you can see there's a satellite or something or a plane that's flown through the frame. And you can see over here it's going through the images and stacking them. Doesn't take too long to do. My computer's reasonably fast. It might take a little bit slower on a slower computer. You can see when that gets to the bottom, it'll get to the last frame and it'll stop. There we go, blending done, 118 images processed. And then what we want to do then is just go File, Save As. And I've actually already saved this one, so I'm just going to go to the folder where, so I've actually saved this one, so I just called it Star Trails Lighten, and just leave that. There's no real file selection, but it'll save it as a JPEG, so but you can call that whatever you want and just save it. I'm not going to save it because I've already got that one there, so just cancel that, and then I'll go back to that folder. So I've got, here's the file that I saved, Star Trails Lighten, and if I open that up, so there's the actual stacked file. And the size is about 5.5 meg, and it's kept the original like pixel size of the original images, which is pretty good. And it's fairly clean. Like I said before, with the noise, it does reduce the noise, but it was a fairly, there's a little bit of like wind movement there, but can't do much about that with trees. Rocks and hard surfaces are actually better, or dead trees or whatever, so yeah, they're actually better subjects. But yeah, you get a pretty good result, and you can see the South Celestial Pole there. So the height of the South Celestial Pole will depend on your latitude of your location. So in this instance, we're out at Mount Isa, and it's fairly similar to Townsville, so I think it's about latitude 20 at Mount Isa, latitude 19 for Townsville. So therefore the height of the pole will actually be 20 degrees above the horizon. So that's a good way also to determine where your South Pole is going to be, is to look at the latitude of your location. Obviously the further south you go, the bigger number you're going to get with your latitude. So yeah, the higher your pole is going to be above the horizon. So what I would do there now with that file is I've loaded that into Lightroom. So this is the file here, so then you can just go D for develop, or whatever editing program you're using, and you can go ahead and play with that and do some edits to what suits your like. And you can also load into Photoshop and get rid of things like that trail there. You can actually remove that, so you can. It's not going to lighten the foreground too much, but the whites and clarity actually make the stars pop the most out of all the sliders, apart from exposure, of course. So yeah, it's all personal preference from there. You can warm it up or cool it down, whatever you want to do. Add a bit of contrast. You can also dehaze. So you can dehaze, just adds a bit more contrast. So you know, from there it's endless. You can edit to your liking. So that's basically it. How to use Star Stax and what you can do with your saved file once you're all finished. What I'll do now is I'll go and do a separate tutorial where I'll just quickly show you. So these were on the 15th. So there's all my original raw files in Lightroom. So what I'll do is I'll do another tutorial now where we load those as layers into Photoshop and then create the star trails in Photoshop using the blend mode. So keep an eye out for that one soon, and thanks for watching along with this one. And if you've got any questions, just get in touch and I'm happy to help. Cheers.